Good evening, America. 11 months ago, I inherited a mess, and I'm fixing it. When I took office, inflation was the worst in 48 years, and some would say in the history of our country, which caused prices to be higher than ever before, making life unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans.
Billions and billions.
This happened during a Democrat administration, and it's when we first began hearing the word affordability. Our border was open, and because of this, our country was being invaded by an army of 25 million people, many who came from prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. They were drug dealers, gang members, and even 11,888 murderers, more than 50% of whom killed more than one person. This is what the Biden administration allowed to happen to our country, and it can never be allowed to happen again. We had men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody.
All the hits
crime at
in here
record
today.
levels with law enforcement, and words such as that just absolutely forbidden. We had the worst trade deals ever made, and our country was laughed at from all over the world. But they're not laughing anymore. Over the past 11 months, we have brought more positive change to Washington than any administration in American history. There's never been anything like it, and I think
Look, are we declaring war in Venezuela, or is this just a cope speech?
I was elected in a landslide, winning the popular vote and all 7 swing states and everything else, with a mandate to take on a sick and corrupt system that really just took the wealth from people and crushed the dreams of the American people. For the last 4 years, the United States was ruled by politicians who fought only for insiders, illegal aliens, career criminals, corporate lobbyists, prisoners, terrorists, and above all, foreign nations, which took advantage of us at levels never seen before. They flooded your cities and towns with illegal aliens. They decimated your hard-earned savings. They indoctrinated your children with hate for America. They just released a level of violent felons that we had never seen to prey on innocent. They caused war. They caused mayhem. They caused a horrible situation all over the globe. But now you have a president who fights for the law-abiding, hardworking people of our country, the ones who make this nation run, who make this nation work. And after just 1 year, we have achieved more than anyone could have imagined. Starting on day one, I took immediate action to stop the invasion of our southern border. For the past 7 months, 0 illegal aliens have been—
I can pause. I'm legally allowed to pause. I just want to say, I was a coin flip on this because it looks like we might be actually going in for Venezuela. At the same time, reporting from inside the White House, or at least word from within the White House, seems to indicate that the collapsing public opinion of the president is more and more getting to him. They're getting more desperate to try anything. Keep in mind, the Epstein files are coming out in 2 days as well.
Allowed into our country, a feat which everyone said was absolutely impossible. Do you remember when Joe Biden said that he needed Congress to pass legislation to help close the border? He was always blaming Congress and everyone else. As it turned out, we didn't need legislation. We just needed a new president. We inherited the worst border anywhere in the world, and we quickly turned it into the strongest border in the history of our country. In other words, in a few short months, we went from worst to best. We're deporting criminals, restoring safety to our most dangerous cities. Just take a look at Washington, D.C. It's at levels of safety that we've never seen before. And they decimated the bloodthirsty foreign drug cartels. We did that all by ourselves with our people, and we're so proud of it because they were poisoning and destroying our population. Drugs brought in by ocean and by sea are now down 94%. We have broken the grip of sinister woke radicals in our schools, and control over those schools is back now in the hands of our great and loving states, where education belongs.
What if he just says the N-word? He should.
After rebuilding the United States military in my first term, and with the addition we are adding right now, We have the most powerful military anywhere in the world, and it's not even close. I've restored American strength, settled 8 wars in 10 months, destroyed the Iran nuclear threat, and ended the war in Gaza, bringing for the first time in 3,000 years peace to the Middle East, and secured the release of the hostages, both living and dead. Here at home, we're bringing our economy back from the brink of ruin. The last administration and their allies in Congress looted our Treasury for trillions of dollars, driving up prices and everything at levels never seen before. I am bringing those high prices down and bringing them down very fast. Let's look at the facts. Under the Biden administration, car prices rose 22% and in many states 30% or more. Gasoline rose 30 to 50%. Hotel rates rose 37%. Airfares rose 31%.
This is boring. Yeah, no kidding. Seriously. Remember, like, this is just more of the same. He's not saying anything new. Their ability to not get gutted in 2026 comes down to their ability to change messaging. And so far, it genuinely just seems like he's getting like he on a snap demanded this because he thought that another round of the same rhetoric for the 5,000th time was going to make a difference.
Now, under our leadership, they are all coming down and coming down fast. Democrat politicians also sent the cost of groceries soaring, but we are solving that too. The price of a Thanksgiving turkey was down 33% compared to the Biden last year. The price of eggs is down 82% since March, and everything else is falling rapidly. And it's not done yet. But boy, are we making progress. Nobody can believe what's going on. Here are just some of the efforts that we have underway. You will see in your wallets and bank accounts in the new year. After years of record-setting falling incomes, our policies are boosting take-home pay at a historic pace. Under Biden, real wages plummeted by $3,000. Under Trump, the typical factory worker has seen a wage increase of $1,300. For construction workers, it's $1,800. For miners, we're bringing back clean, beautiful coal. It's $3,300. And for the first time in years, wages are rising much faster than inflation. Remember that. The wages, just look at it. Wages are going up much faster than inflation. How big is that? Very importantly, there are more people working today than at any time in American history, and 100% of all jobs created since I took office have been in the private sector. Think of that. 100%
that might actually
of all
be true.
Jobs have been in the private sector rather than government, which is the only way to make a country powerful and great. This historic trend will continue. Already, I've secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs, which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us, but not anymore. Companies know that if they build in America, there are no tariffs, and that's why they're coming home to the USA in record numbers. They're building factories and plants at levels we haven't seen, AI, automobiles. We're doing what nobody thought was even possible, not even remotely possible. There has never, frankly, been anything like it.
I want you all to know, like, the main thing I'm focusing right now, the main thing I'm mentally scanning for is a single new talking point. Literally, I genuinely can't. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of whenever there's a big, like, PR fuck up at a company and they ignore the PR advisors, like they ignore their relations team, and the CEO or whoever else is like, no, I'll fix it. I'll immediately go talk to the press, or I'll just like do a big like tweet thread or whatever. You're mad at me? No, I'll just talk you out of it, you know? No actual strategy for how to dig himself out from the fucking hole that he's in. Just literally just the same thing. Just the same thing. He'll keep saying this till his dying day. It'll always be the same.
A year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed. Now, we're the hottest country
He sounds
anywhere
angry,
in
doesn't
the
he?
world. And
He's like
that's said by
frustrated that he
every
has to do
single
this.
leader that I've spoken to over the last 5 months. Next year, you will also see the results of the largest tax cuts in American history that were really accomplished through our great, big, beautiful bill, perhaps the most sweeping legislation ever passed in Congress. We wrapped 12 different bills up into one beautiful bill. That includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Under these cuts, many families will be saving between $11,000 and $20,000 a year, and next spring is projected to be the largest tax refund season of all time. Because of tariffs, along with the just passed One Big Beautiful Bill, tonight I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special, we call Warrior Dividend before Christmas, a Warrior Dividend. In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776. Think of that. And the checks are already on the way.
That's a fucking red flag, isn't it? Oh, how funny would it be, by the way, and there's a 50-50 on this happening, if it doesn't happen. Like, he rushed this and he wanted to say it, but they just never pull it together.
Nobody understood that one until about 30 minutes ago. We made a lot more money than anybody thought because of tariffs, and the bill helped us along. Nobody deserves it more than our military, and I say congratulations to everybody. And by the way, we now have record enlistment in our military, and last year we had among the worst recruitment numbers in our military's history. What a difference a year makes. In addition, I'm doing what no politician of either party has ever done, standing up to the special interests to dramatically reduce the price of prescription drugs. I negotiated directly with the drug companies and foreign nations, which were taking advantage of our country for many decades, to slash prices on drugs and pharmaceuticals by as much as 400, 500, and even 600%. In other words, your drug costs will be plummeting downward. And I used the threat of tariffs to get foreign countries who would never have done it to pay the cost of this giant dollar reduction. They stopped ripping us off, and it began as of 4 days ago. There has never been anything like this in the history of our country. Drugs have only gone up.
He may legit be worried about getting cooed. He does sound desperate. I don't think he's going to be militarily cooed or whatever, but he, in this speech, does sound desperate. Like, why don't you like me? Why don't you like me? I don't understand. He probably does think all the stuff he's saying is true as well. So he's like genuinely incredulous. He's like, what the fuck? I'm positive that I have brought about a new golden age. Why are my numbers so bad, you know?
But now they'll be going down by numbers never conceived possible. It's called Most Favored Nation, and no president has ever had the courage or ability to get this done until now. The first of these unprecedented price reductions will be available starting in January through a new website, trumprx.gov. And these big price cuts will greatly reduce the cost of health care. I'm also taking on the gigantic health insurance companies that have gotten rich on billions of dollars of money that should go directly to the people. The money should go to the people. That's you. So they can buy their own health insurance, which will give far better benefits at much lower costs. It will be far better health insurance. The current Unaffordable Care Act was created to make insurance companies rich. It was bad health care at much too high a cost. And you see that now in the steep increase in premiums being demanded by the Democrats, and they are demanding those increases, and it's their fault. It is not the Republicans' fault. It's the Democrats' fault. It's the Unaffordable Care Act, and everybody knew it. Again, I want the money to go directly to the people so you can buy your own health care. You'll get much better health care at a much lower price. The only losers will be insurance companies that have gotten rich, and the Democrat Party, which is totally controlled by those same insurance companies. They will not be happy, But that's okay with me because you, the people, are finally going to be getting great health care at a lower cost. Another major focus is the cost of energy. For years, the radical left Democrats exploited the green energy scam as an excuse to funnel many billions of dollars into their own massive slush funds as their energy restrictions drastically drove up prices, and they drove them up at record levels. Electricity costs surged 30 to 100% under Biden, and the typical family lost $5,000 to $10,000 in higher energy costs. Think of that, $5,000 to $10,000.
Legit question, how many people do you think were convinced, oh, shit, maybe it is Republicans' fault, from Trump insisting twice that it wasn't his fault? Look, all I know is that every time Trump has had an actual bump in his popularity, it's been from something that he's done, not from something that he's said. You know, but this pathetic whinging, this it wasn't us, it was. Have you ever, in fiction or reality, heard a politician talk like that and for it to go over well? I'm serious. Think of any time. This is like if this were written as a show, this would be like the downfall speech. This would be the desperate final weeks before the wall, the kitten, I think the walls are closing in on daddy speech, you know? Now, obviously in real life, everything's dumb and we don't really have a legal system. So it's not just a couple weeks away from all being over, but he certainly sounds that way.
$1,000 you lost. On day one, I declared a national energy emergency. Gasoline is now under $2.50
it is boring as
a
shit,
gallon
yeah.
in much of the country. In some states, it, by the way, just hit $1.99 a gallon. And within the next 12 months, we will have opened 1,600 new electrical generating plants, a record, and it's a record that won't be beaten by practically, I would say, by anybody.
It's crazy because the lesson everyone was talking about at the end of the Biden administration was it doesn't really matter what you're doing. You have to make people feel heard in their concerns, you know? The Biden administration's insistence that everything was going fine when the inflation was actually pretty bad hurt them a lot. So for the Republicans to run with that, and then Trump comes over and everything immediately gets much worse, and their only way of dealing with it is to say, no, actually, everything's perfect. Everything is completely perfect. What the fuck do you mean everything's not completely perfect?
Or certainly not very soon. Prices on electricity and everything else will fall dramatically. The Democrat inflation disaster, again, the worst in the history of our country, also robbed millions of Americans of home ownership and indeed the American dream. The yearly cost of a typical new mortgage increased by $15,000 under Democrat rule. In 11 months, we've already gotten that annual cost down by $3,000, and it's coming down a lot lower. Wait till you see. The numbers are going to be shocking. And I'll soon announce our next chairman of the Federal Reserve, someone who believes in lower interest rates by a lot, and mortgage payments will be coming down even further. Early the new year, and you will see this, in the new year, I will announce some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history. A major factor in driving up housing costs was the colossal border invasion. We have never been invaded. This is the worst thing that, frankly, in my opinion, the worst thing that the Biden administration did to our country is the invasion at the border. The last administration and their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing.
Bro was on
while
his knees.
your rent and housing costs.
I think one of the most damning, I guess, or one of the most damning indictments of his second administration, he doesn't even say MAGA anymore. Seriously, he no longer says, we're going to make America great again, because he's such a narcissist that he has to stand by the position that it's already great. His position is essentially, no, we fixed it. We came in, we did everything great. No one stopped me. I did everything great. I fixed it. What do you mean, make it great? It's great. Fuck you. You know? He doesn't, there is no aspirational vision of the future. No, MAGA is dead. MAGA is 100% dead. The movement is dead. Everyone is a bunch of Republicans in Congress are looking for their out. Rats fleeing a sinking ship. Dan Bongino's on the way out. Epstein files about to be released. Mike Johnson is getting more and more pushback from the people underneath him about the job he's made them have as a rubber stamp for the Trump administration. You know, it's getting to be more and more embarrassing.
skyrocketed. Over 60% of growth in the rental market came from foreign migrants. At the same time, illegal aliens stole American jobs and flooded emergency rooms, getting free health care and education paid for by you, the American taxpayer. They also increased the cost of law enforcement by numbers so high that they are not even to be mentioned. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration as migrants go back home, leaving more housing and more jobs for Americans. In the year before my election, all net creation of jobs was going to foreign migrants. Since I took office, 100% of all net job creation has gone to American-born citizens, 100%. In the end, government either serves the productive, patriotic, hardworking American citizen, or it serves those who break the laws, cheat the system, and seek power and profit at the expense of our nation. Look at Minnesota, where Somalians have taken over the economics of the state and have stolen billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States of America. And we're going to put an end to it.
Minnesota was promised to them 3,000 years ago. You can't be mad at that.
For so long as before my election, the vast majority of good and decent Americans were forced to watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power, exploited our taxpayers, and pillaged every system that makes civilized society function. But not anymore, and you see that every day, not anymore. We're putting America first, and we are making America great again. Very simple. We are making America great again. Tonight, after
there goes my theory.
11 months, our border is secure. Inflation has stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down. Our nation is strong.
Again, it's the fucking Biden thing, man. Like you can't completely divorce your rhetoric from material reality. Like no matter what, no matter how brainwashed people are, there is still like an actual real world out there that people experience separate from the world you're trying to create with your language, you know? There is no inflation. Prices are down. Meanwhile, you asked Mike Johnson why prices aren't down yet. He's like, well, it's going to take a little while. Even J.D. Vance was saying that. He was like, well, you can't expect us to only get prices down within a year. The rate at which price increases have slowed down, you know? The logarithmic, the exponential growth is slow. The logarithmic growth, well...
America is respected, and our country is back, stronger than ever before. We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen. Soon we will host the World Cup and the Olympics, both of which I got. But most importantly, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. There could be no more fitting tribute to this epic milestone than to complete the comeback of America that began just 1 year ago. When the world looks at us next year, let them see a nation that is loyal to its citizens, faithful to its workers, confident to its identity, certain to its destiny, and the envy of the entire globe. We are respected again like we have never been respected before. To each and every one of you, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless you all.
Miss... Okay, so it really truly was somebody accidentally showed him his polling numbers, and he was like, I've got to hold a rally immediately. Sir, you're the president. You can't just do a rally. Okay, then schedule a speech. How this was like really hastily scheduled, wasn't it? When was the first word we heard of this happening? Last night? Yeah, that was it. It's a desperation speech. Why else would it be that hasty? Nothing new was introduced here. It was literally just like off the, like right now, I need to talk right now. Sir, we can't do it literally right now. Okay, then tomorrow. We're going to do it tomorrow. Yeah, this is about as close to firing from the hip as you can get as the president. This shit was fucking garbage, man. This was straight doo-doo from a butt. That was pathetic. Normally, when Trump is doing the same speech he always does, which is how he's perfect and everything he's done is perfect and he's fixed everything, he comes across as a lot more gloating or triumphant. You know what I mean? But this one, he just came across as angry and entitled. Like, how dare you dislike me after everything that I've done? How dare you? You know? Um, super defensive, super I don't know, entitled, super desperate. Do you think the 1776 dividend is an incentive to get dumbasses to enlist to prep for Venezuela? Pretty bad incentive considering the fact that it only goes out to people who are already enlisted. I mean, it's not as though you would get it if you signed up now. Also, who knows if it's actually going to happen? The administration says stuff and then lies about it all the time. Also, 1,776 bucks just isn't really that much. It's also kind of an abstraction to a soldier. If you're like on tour, you know, if you're like an active duty soldier, your money's just accumulating in a bank account while you eat at the cafeteria and jerk each other off all day, right? Like it's not like you're paying rent over there. I'm not saying they don't use their money at all. I'm just saying it's just a stupid LARP. It sounds like something he came up with 30 minutes before the speech, and I think that it's extremely telling that on the eve of what seems to be potentially like actual military action in with Venezuela, uh, that he's interested in tossing money at them. You know, all comes across super desperate. Are recruitment numbers up? No, I don't think so. Well, they might. I think they might be up a little bit because the economy's bad. When the economy's bad, more people tend to sign up because it's one of the few like guaranteed jobs you can get. Right, as long as you're the right age and reasonably fit, you can pretty much like guarantee that in college if you're in for 4 years. Um, recruitment is up, retention stagnated. Yippee! Yeah, I don't know. That was really pathetic. Military spouse here. I guess I'll let you know if we ever get that pay amount. Yeah, please. Feel free to. Yeah, I don't know. Just crazy desperate. We're all on board with this, right? I was like 50% on it being this, 50% on it being some kind of desperate Venezuela thing. But yeah, I don't know. They're in a nosedive right now. The Epstein files are getting released soon. Trump is more unpopular than like any president ever, basically, at least as modern polling goes. You know, we only really started doing that polling after World War II. So they're trying absolutely everything, but they're floundering on all accounts. The Epstein file handling from Pam Bondi has been wretched. ICE has stalled. When was the last time you even heard something from Kristi Noem? The Department of Education gutting has not really produced anything newsworthy or interesting, so they can't work with it that much. The economy is doing terribly, so nobody wants to hear anything from fucking Howell or whatever. You know, nobody wants to hear anything from the Treasury. Nobody wants. Doge failed, so you can't work with that. Pete Hegseth, you've got Venezuela, but intervention in Venezuela is pulling about as well as cardiac arrest is right now. So, that's probably not going to work that well. People hate Kash Patel. People hate Kash Patel. And also, right now, 4 days after the shooting, the shooter at Brown University is still out there. While excerpts are coming out from Kash Patel's interview where he sits there with his girlfriend and talks about how he's not corrupt because he only uses the FBI jet to go to some of her shows. The 5,000 FBI agents over in Rhode Island are out there like kicking little plots of snow or whatever. It's like the administration has nothing, like nothing, absolutely nothing at all. Nothing to give you, nothing to promise you, and nothing to distract you with. So yeah, fuck it. Roll the tape. Quickly, another address. Let me tell the nation how good I am and how everything is the Democrats' fault. Let me lie to them and tell them that prices are down, inflation is gone, etc., etc. Nobody buys this. Do you think the more Trump will get put in a corner, the more dangerous he will get? No. I think that would only be the case if you had a president who could exercise a modicum of restraint, but he's already been going like full hog from the beginning. The more infighting there is in the party, the more powerless he gets. I would argue that he is already a lame duck president. Not a day goes by without some extremely embarrassing bullshit coming out of the administration that makes it seem like Trump not only doesn't know what he's doing, but doesn't even have the ability to enact the stuff he wants to do. You know? He's not even signing EOs anymore. Like, at this point, his executive orders have basically already directed every executive administration to, like, be Hitler. You know? Like, he's already written that on paper. For, like, every administrative branch is already like, yeah, okay, thank you, Mr. President. To the best of our ability, we will be Hitler. But there's only so much you can do without law, and Congress isn't doing shit. They attempted the unitary executive theory, but for the most part, they've failed because they haven't really attempted or followed through on the effort to, like, pass law through the president. Was it always destined to be like this, or did he exhaust his political capital from his overbearingness? Well, actually, I would argue that the main fault in this administration, we know that they wanted to end democracy. Like, they wanted to end the American experiment. They wanted to cement Trump in as an authoritarian leader who would be picked after him, and democracy would, at least until things fell apart, never again reemerge, right? The main thing they could have done to prevent this from happening was mass arrest and or killing of Democratic politicians. That was it. They needed to weaponize Congress, and the best way for them to have done that would have been to just take out enough Democrats in Congress that Republicans could have been running the mill nonstop, They weren't willing to put the nuts on the table, 100%. They were not willing to. And I think the reason for, they tested it. They tested it a little bit. Remember in New Jersey? They tested it. The arrest of, I'm forgetting the congresswoman, I'm forgetting, and the mayoral candidate, blanking right now on the names. They arrested them over nothing. There have been a couple other instances like this. Newark, Ras Baraka, thank you very much. Yeah, Ras Baraka. There have been a couple of times where it looked like maybe they were going to use ICE as the federal police and just start rounding people up. Just disappearing people, But they didn't. Yeah, they sent troops to cities, but how many did they send? A couple hundred? They were clearly interested in using the military and ICE to end democracy, and they didn't. They were just not committed enough to it. They just chickened out. Well, look, to be fair, there are risks with ending democracy. If he attempted to do that, if they really committed to doing that, a military coup was totally on the table. If it was clear that the Trump administration was disappearing Democratic politicians, like taking over Congress by force, it was entirely possible that the Pentagon could have just stopped responding to the White House. And once the Pentagon decides to not respond to the White House, that's it. You lose. That's it. It's over. That's the line, and once it's crossed, there's no going back, and your administration is not, you're if you're lucky, you get arrested. Why didn't they do something after the National Guard troops were shot in DC? Just didn't want to take the risk? Well, I'm not psychic, My guess is that they were interested in ending democracy, and they were willing to take a bunch of small steps towards that to test what they could or couldn't get away with. But at the end of the day, it's you shit or you get off the pot. You dip your toe in the water to test the temperature, but sometimes, like, eventually you have to jump in, and the water is very, very cold, I think they were interested. I'm glad they failed. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm happy I'm happy they failed. They're still very capable of fucking up the country, mind you. It's just that this big sweeping effort to end democracy clearly failed. They had a window of opportunity that might have worked, and now it's passed. Almost certainly it's passed now. Wait, would the Pentagon have really turned the White House? Sure, they did it after J6. Yeah, the Pentagon, all the brass at the Pentagon are like these stuffy, centrist, West Point college-educated types. They hate Trump. They despise Trump, and they hate Hegseth too. Yeah, I think that probably they would have been waiting for an excuse. Also, if you keep threatening force and violence but barely do anything and don't follow through, you lose a lot of your powers of fascist. Oh yeah, for sure. People fear them a lot less now. Absolutely. Anyway, I mean, I'm glad they fail. Just if this is their strategy on holding power, you know, I'm a lot more hopeful about next year. Well, you shouldn't be. They're not going to take over the country, but this country still seems to be like inertially slipping into an interminable decline. You know, the Democrats remain worthless, absolutely worthless, and you know, the Republican Party isn't going to be out of power, not after 2026. You know, possibly not even after 2028. The Democrats need to offer something better. And even if they do, the Democrats are probably not willing to undertake the changes necessary to keep this from happening again. It is the American century of humiliation, okay? Don't think it's not a century because Trump was going to live another 100 years. It's a century because these conditions are going to, you know, persevere after Trump. You don't think they'll stack the 2026 elections? Oh, I mean, I'm sure they'll try. They're going to engage in plenty of you know, what am I blanking on here? You know, voter disenfranchisement. But they've been doing that for decades. I mean, you know. Thoughts on Vance or another more competent fascist Republican ending democracy after Trump's out? No. Trump was the only one who could have done it. The only one who could have done it. It has nothing to do with intelligence and everything to do with charisma and momentum. And Trump has momentum. They can't schmoove like that. They don't have the movement. Also, not gonna lie, like my impression of Vance's intelligence has not it's not gotten better over time, you know? He's still smarter than Trump, but that's a low bar. I don't think Vance is that smart. So that was wacky.